This is West Ham Unofficial. Come on, you Irons. Yes, people, welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. Something a little bit different tonight. I'm joined by this is how I've worded this: cycling diabetic Andrew. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, Jake. Yeah, no, I'm all good. Thanks.
Good. So we're going to be discussing what life is like with type 1 diabetes. Funnily enough, on World Diabetes Day as well. Coincidentally, that's happened that we're discussing this today. But before we get into it, drop a like on a video, subscribe to West Ham Unofficial. You know the drill. We're 31 off of 2,000, so subscribe and check out our channel sponsors by seeing the link in the description down below. Our fantastic channel sponsor here on West Ham Unofficial are SRM Carver and Son. SRM Carver and Son provides crushing, screening and aggregate recycling services across southern England. If you'd like to find out more information on SRM, please click the link in the description down below to check out more information on their website. Thank you very much to SRM Carver and Son for sponsoring West Ham Unofficial, and come on, you Irons. So Andrew, you are as well, which is an added bonus for West Ham fans. So I'm pretty sure that we're all pretty happy at the moment.
I am indeed. Yeah, no, absolutely. I was only saying the other day on the chat on your chat that West Ham should go in to win that game against Liverpool, and they did. So fantastic. Yeah, I mean overall, yeah, what a time to be a West Ham supporter. Exactly.
You reckon most of the fan base at the moment, we are all loving life. Peace in the chat. Hope you are well, Pete. So let's get this started then. So explain to people that perhaps don't know or don't know as well. Explain to people watching what type 1 diabetes actually is.
Yeah. So type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease where basically your body's pancreas no longer produces insulin. So you, as a type 1 diabetic, have to try and replicate what your body would do if you had a working pancreas, essentially. So it's you either inject or you deliver some form of insulin, normally via injections or an insulin pump, to try and regulate your blood glucose.
Yeah, and Andrew has started recently. He's started up his own YouTube channel on YouTube, and you can find it on YouTube by clicking the link that I've put in the chat. We're trying to get him up to 80 subscribers by the end of this show. It's currently on 78. It's gone up one, which is nice to see. So you can click the link in the chat now, or type it up into YouTube, type 1 Andrew. So explain to people watching what you do over on that channel and what they can expect you to do.
Yeah, so sort of my channel is basically it's a vlog really of sort of my life and what it's like living with type 1 diabetes, and mainly sort of cycling, training to become an elite level cyclist. So I'm trying to document basically my journey really, and hopefully I think that would bring value to some other diabetics or other people that are maybe struggling with some form of disability, just to sort of give them a little bit of confidence, at sort of even at an amateur level. Diabetes doesn't have to stop you, and you can go and achieve your goals.
Yeah, definitely. So you can check out Andrew's channel in the link in the chat. So what's the most challenging thing you'd say about is living with type 1 diabetes?
I think the most challenging thing is there's no day off. With diabetes, there is it's one of them diseases which it needs constantly monitoring. It's not like, you know, on Christmas you can go, okay, I'll just I won't bother taking my insulin today. It's relentless, really. You have to keep on top of it all the time. I think if you ask most type 1 diabetics, that it's the first thing you think of when you wake up in the morning and the last thing you think of when you go to sleep. So it's just sort of, it's always there, really.
Yeah, and you'd be glad to know your subscribers have jumped up to 82, which is nice here. So keep subscribing. There we go. A great chance to please go and subscribe right then. The target now is try to get to 85. Come on, let's get to 85 over there because he deserves it. So, what is life like being a diabetic? You mentioned there that, you know, so the first thing you think of in the morning, and it's pretty relentless, as you say.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there is that. There's let's say the negatives, but for me, since I was diagnosed, I've always used it as a positive. And it sounds a bit strange, but I feel like I am the person I am today because of diabetes. I feel like it's making me more driven. It's made me never give up. It's made me chase things that I want. And I think generally, most diabetics are very driven people, you know, because it's a challenging disease, but it makes you push on with life. You know, there's no excuses, and you just got to get on with things.
Yeah, definitely. That is what you have got to do. Let's head into the chat and see who else we've got joining us tonight. Pete says hello to you, Andrew. Evening all. Hope you're well, Jay Woods. Mug, hope you're well. Haven't seen you before. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. How long have you been a diabetic, Andrew?
18 years now. So I was diagnosed when I was 13. So yeah, I mean, it's a long time, really. I can't really remember my life without diabetes, to be honest. So it seems very normal at this stage of my life.
Yeah. So on your channel, what else are you going to be covering? You know, documenting how it all works and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's still very early days on my channel, but I've got some good ideas. I also want to sort of cover specifically what diabetes technology I use to sort of maintain my blood glucose whilst cycling and exercising, which I think would be quite interesting. I'd also like to meet, I've got sort of in the pipeline, I want to meet with some other type 1 athletes, not cyclists, but, you know, other forms of diabetics, so like bodybuilders, long distance runners, and just see the different approaches from different sports to see, you know, because it will be different. Like bodybuilding is a complete different approach to endurance sport, for example. So I want to just try and get as many sort of different aspects of managing diabetes on my channel as I can.
Yeah. Scott, hope you are well, my man. Scott says, I take my hat off to you, sir. I'm not sure how I feel without chocolate and biscuits, the real stuff.
Until we cook the biscuits, that's one of the big sort of, you know, a lot of people don't understand. As a diabetic, you can eat whatever you want, really. It's just you would have to do a little bit of insulin before. So I can eat. My diet is very normal. I mean, I eat chocolate, I eat sweets, I eat, you know, just if I do the insulin for it, I can eat whatever I want. So there is no limit to what you can eat. You don't want to be eating them all the time, obviously, without any insulin, because that's not a good thing to do. But with insulin, you can have a dessert, you can have whatever you want. So yeah, there's no limit to what you can eat.
Yeah. Jay Wiss says fair play. Andrew, keep up the good work. Don't follow my diet. Scott, you're a chef as well. Come on. But moving on, there's plenty of diabetes charities out there. Obviously, the main one is Diabetes UK. How much do you think these charities help to raise awareness and raise money to try and find a cure for diabetes?
Oh, I think they're massive. Yeah, I mean, I think there was Diabetes UK recently done an advert. I'm not sure if you saw it, but I mean, it was really one of them adverts where you saw it as a diabetic. It was quite touching. So I'm sure to sort of non-diabetics, it would just make you a bit more aware. And like you say, they're very good at spreading awareness. JDRF, like sort of the second largest charity in the UK, they're very good at raising awareness as well and putting on events and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see what else you are saying in the chat. Scott says, interesting, that's good to hear you still have these foods in your life. Jakey, the last thing I want to do is cook when I'm off, so you know it's takeaway and more takeaways. To be fair, yeah, I mean most nights we come on air and it is a Chinese, but you can't beat a takeaway. You know, I understand your reason. You can't beat a takeaway. That is for sure. In fairness, I do make an effort to eat my fruit and veg. Exactly. See, Scott, you redeemed yourself. Is Andrew a hammer?
I am indeed. Yeah. Of course I'm. I am indeed.
You can hear it. You can hear it in the accent. It's that Cockney accent there. We all know Andrew's a hammer, and he's a very happy hammer. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, why wouldn't you be a happy hammer at the minute?
Exactly. How crucial is it for you that in the future and hopefully near future we find a cure for diabetes?
Yeah, I mean, I think a cure, and also I think more importantly, the reason why so many people are being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. I know there's a lot of research going into that at the minute because, you know, we just don't know why people get it. Is it, you know, there's so many different reasons. It's an autoimmune disease, of course, but is it environment? Is it other things? The biggest thing is to prevent people getting it. Yes, great, let's find a cure, but if we can stop people getting diabetes, that's essentially the big thing, I think, which it's just going to eliminate more people getting it.
Yeah, definitely. Jay Woods loves to say that you're a hammer. That is for sure. What's one piece of advice you would give someone, you know, a young person who's recently been diagnosed with diabetes?
Yeah, never give up. Never give up on what you want to do. You know, diabetes doesn't have to stop you. That's the one thing I would say. It's never stopped me, and it's, you know, there's plenty of good advocates of diabetes out there which have shown it's just another thing you have to, you know, adapt to. But yeah, I would say the one piece of advice I would say: never give up.
Yeah, that's a good piece of advice. That is for sure. Andrew, I need some advice. What's a good seat for cycling during lockdown? I did lots of it, and my God, I had a number.
Yeah, but a lot of people, well, especially people getting into cycling, will suffer. Most importantly, you need to know the width of your seat bone, basically, because if you don't get that right, you won't be sitting on the saddle. You'll be sitting on, you know, you won't be sitting on the saddle correctly, and you'll be getting sore in the places you don't want to be getting sore. So, a lot of bike shops will measure the width of your seat bone. So that's what I would recommend. It doesn't need to be an expensive saddle, it just needs to be the right width so your bones are actually sitting on it.
Yeah. And what's a good recommendation for a bike? What bike have you got, Andrew?
I've got a few, but I mean, I would say Giant are very reasonably priced, and you get a lot for your money with Giant. So, I mean, I bought a Giant last year, and for sort of for what you spend, you get a lot for your money. So, I would say Giant is a very good brand to go for.
There we go. Scott, you came onto YouTube tonight and you've come off of it with advice about a bike. What more could you want? Are there any Type 1 cycling clubs that you go to and help out with, Andrew?
So at the minute, currently in the UK, there is no dedicated Type 1 cycling. So there are some cycling clubs which they have some Type 1 relationships with some of the charities, etc. But my sort of goal is, I'm in the process of setting up a all Type 1 cycling club. So what I mean by that is all of the cyclists will be diabetic. This exists on the sort of the pro level, but at a UK national level, surprisingly, it just doesn't exist. So I would like to start the first, maybe it's not the first one, but the only current UK-based team at the minute, which are all Type 1s.
Yeah, definitely. We are going to come to your comments in a second, but final call before we go into the comments and end the show is for you to subscribe to Andrew's channel, Type 1 Andrew on YouTube. The link has gone in the chat. It's the pinned comment at the top of the chat, so you can check Andrew out in more detail. They're great advice. Says Scott, I was standing while cycling, which caused hamstring issues too, so that's handy to know. See, there you go, Scott. There you go. Let's have a little look here. Stephen, I hope you are also Type 2 diabetic, got found too late. one of my arteries had to have a heart bypass. Look after yourselves. Anything you want to say on that, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I think Stephen hit the nail on the head there. Just look after yourself, of course. That's first and foremost.
Yeah. I can see Scott on a bike ride to Somerset soon. Kent to Somerset. It's on. It's happening. It is happening. Good question from Scott. What's a good go-to food that keeps your energy levels up?
Yeah, good question. I like a lot of like oat based sort of snacks. So because they've got slow releasing carbohydrate, but they also have, you can mix them with lots of stuff. So like honey and stuff. So you have a instant sort of spike from the glucose in the honey, but then you get a prolonged sort of like you would do normally. The oats take a long time to digest and keep you going for a while. Yeah, so like sort of oat sort of bars I like.
Yeah,
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, good to know. We will join you for the last 2 miles, Scott. No, 2.5 at a push. I'll let you out, Scott. 2.5. Mug eats spaghetti bolognese and those kinds of situations. I think we all love a bit of spaghetti bolognese. We all love a bit of food in general. But anything else you'd like to add before we wrap things up, Andrew, about diabetes and what we've discussed?
No, I think we covered everything there. No, it was good. No, nothing else to say really on the diabetes front.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for watching in the chat. Scott, all of you people in the chat for putting your comments and questions in for Andrew. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe to West Ham Unofficial, subscribe to Andrew's channel as well, Type 1 Andrew, and you can check him out there in more detail and get some decent advice like Scott got tonight. Thank you very much from me and Andrew. Come on, you irons, and let's raise some more awareness for type 1 diabetes, and we'll catch you in the next show in this very boring international break. Let's face it. And we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.